Hi everyone, my name is Angela and welcome to my YouTube channel. There are over 500 of you now, which is incredible. I am so grateful that you're here. I love commenting with you or chatting with you in the comments. If you're not commenting, I get it. I see you anyway. I am one of those people that just likes to watch. I tend not to comment too much either on other people's videos, but I see you. I know you're here. So thank you for subscribing and liking. I appreciate it. Today we're going to have a bit of a bookish chat. When I did my intro video with you, I gave you a little bit about myself. I thought this would be a good way for me to share a little bit more about me in a bookish sense. So we're going to do a this or that, and then I'm going to share with you some books I've got on the go at the moment in February. So let's get started. Okay, this or that, paperback or hardback. I feel like I like both. Generally, I'll go for a paperback first. Not only is the cost a little bit cheaper, I just prefer the experience with a paperback. I like a book that's lived in. So I like to be able to curl the book around itself sometimes, depending on what I'm reading. It's easier to toss in a bag if I'm taking it somewhere. I don't mind a hardback, and I think there's a place for it. And I do have, I'll buy it occasionally. But in general, it might be a special edition, like the penguin cloth bound, that kind of thing. But those aren't books that I would be picking up regularly to read. They're kind of a special book. So paperback is my preference. Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? This is an easy one to answer because I have not read Lord of the Rings. I know it's on my wish list to do, but I have not done it yet. I think I want to read The Hobbit first. It's going to be such an undertaking. It's clearly a fantasy, and I don't read a lot of fantasy, and the world building is something that I'm a little bit intimidated by. I have seen the movies, but I really do want to read it. But anyway, I could read Harry Potter any day of the week. I really do enjoy reading it, and I love going back to read it here and there. It's a real comfort read for me. Real books or Kindle? Real books, of course. I love the tangible nature of a book, not just the experience of reading it, but having it visually on my shelf. I just find so much comfort in that. A Kindle, I feel like it's borrowed, it's loaned, or there's something about it where I don't feel like I have as much ownership over it. I do feel there is a place for it, like if you're traveling and you don't want to be taking a bulky book with you, I get it. But for me, I would always choose a real book over a Kindle. Buy or borrow? I would prefer to buy a book than borrow a book. Because I'm such a mood reader, sometimes I'll borrow a book from someone, or they'll offer it to me usually, and I won't get to it for months, if not years. I've had a book that someone gave me a couple of years ago to read, and I have not read it because I'm a mood reader and I just have not felt in the mood to read this book. And they recommended it because they think I'll like it, and that's probably it's very, very true. But I just feel really guilty because I've still got it and I haven't returned it to them and I haven't read it. So I prefer to buy a book for that reason. But the same goes when I loan people books. I love loaning and I love sharing books with people. But then once I give it to them, I have immediate regret because I am always worried that, what if I don't get it back? Or what if they do what I do to other people and I don't get it back for years? So I prefer to buy, and maybe I prefer my friends to buy books as well. Reading in bed or reading in a chair? Now I prefer to read in a chair. I don't know why. When I was a teenager and a kid, reading in bed, I would go to bed, read a book, and I would read for hours, and that was how I preferred to do it. But now as an adult, I love reading in a chair, having a cuppa or a glass of wine or something like that. There might be a Saturday morning where I make a coffee and go back to bed and read a little bit, but generally I prefer a chair. And I've got a really, really nice chair that I sit and read in, and I've got big hopes for a new reading space in a room in our home that I want to fit out. So I've got another location that I can read, especially in the afternoons. It gets some beautiful light. So reading in a chair. Book club or reading alone? Well, I haven't been in a book club, so I really can't say, but I think I would still prefer to read. Like if we're talking about the actual reading, I would prefer to do it alone. I get so distracted. If there's noise around, like if my husband's home and I want to really get into a book, I will put on some noise cancelling headphones or go into another room and shut the door because it does get quite distracting and I find it hard to concentrate at times. If we're talking about actual reading, I would rather read alone, but I love talking about books with people. I think there is that solitary nature of reading that is really, really nice. And it is important to spend time by yourself doing that stuff. But when it comes to processing the information about the book, I think it's really important to discuss that with other people. So a bit of both. I'd love to be part of a book club, to be honest. I really would. Library or bookstore? Bookstore, all the way. The pandemic damaged me in terms of sharing anything. I will not share a drink, I will not share food, and I probably won't share a book. It kind of comes back to that borrow or buy. It's rare that I will buy a book and I will read it immediately. So libraries just don't work for me in that sense. But yeah, as a kid, I loved library books. Of course, it was a great way to get different genres and have no commitment, and you could try things before you buy them. But now I would much prefer to buy them. I have no problem with that. Fiction or non-fiction? At the moment, I've got a 50-50 split happening. I'm not favouring one over the other, and I think that I've started to see a pattern since I've began to track my reading through Storygraph, and that is that I really do enjoy a non-fiction book in summer, and I think come winter I'm really going to be immersing more into the fiction. I really want to escape into a different world, but for now I'm enjoying a even split of both. I don't have a favourite over one or the other. I guess if I had to choose one to read forever, it would probably be non-fiction, but maybe fiction. Don't make me choose. Print or audio? Print. Print, print, print. I do listen to audiobooks, but I feel like I'm cheating when I listen to an audiobook. I would put on an audiobook and clean my house or go for a walk. I just feel like that multitasking aspect of it is a little bit, audio just feels like cheating a little bit, like if you're sitting here reading a book, you physically can't do anything else with your hands than hold the book. And even the aspect of picking up a snack or a drink, you've got to reposition yourself. And I like that immersive aspect of it, where you give something your undivided attention. Audiobooks just feel like I'm cheating a little bit in that aspect. So print is my preference. New books or old books? New books? New books that are old? I don't know. I guess there's a few different ways you could read this question. I don't mind either of them. I love to buy a new book, but I also love my books to look read. I am not trying to have a pristine book. I don't mind if the spine is cracked. I feel like a book should look read, when they're not designed to be. It's like our homes, right? It's nice to have them looking all pretty, but they should look lived in. And I feel the same about books. I really love them looking like they've been on a journey. Maybe the pages are wavy because I was reading them when I was in the pool or something like that. And I don't have a problem with that. So I don't mind. I like to buy new books. I don't mind buying secondhand books so long as they're in good condition. But I also don't mind those books looking tattered at the end of the day if I have really enjoyed reading them and experiencing them. Okay, so that is the this and that. I'm going to share with you some books that I've currently got on the go at the moment. But first, I want to show you, I've got some new glasses. And so I've got terrible vision, really, really bad vision. And I wear glasses all the time. But I got these, I'm now at an age where I need reading. So I've got reading glasses, and I've got, what am I, nearsighted? I can't see long distances. So I wear them all the time. But I got these new glasses, which are reading glasses, and I really love them. They're like a matte tortoiseshell kind of frame, and I feel like that tortoiseshell really suits me. But they're for reading, so I find with my other glasses, I'm having to hold things further away. So I really, really like them. They're really nice. But I try not to wear them too much when I film because they reflect everything. And of course, everything's all blue light filters now, so there's a blue tint to them. But I really do enjoy my new readers. So let's get into what I've been reading lately. First up, Lent started on Valentine's Day. So I've started, for the first year, I'm reading a book for Lent. And the book that I came across is Glory of the Cross by Tim Chester, and it's taking pieces out of the Gospel of John. And I'm 3 days in, and I'm really enjoying it. There's some poetry, there's prayers. Anyway, I'm enjoying this as a Lent read. I've also got another faith-based book on the go, which is The God of the Garden by Andrew Peterson. It's a memoir, but it is rooted, pardon the pun, in the garden, in plants, in trees in particular. I'm really enjoying it. The author is actually a musician as well, so he's quite a creative person, and there's quite a whimsical nature to his writing, which I enjoy. So I've got that one on the go at the moment too. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is one that I am listening to on audiobook, but I'm also picking it up to read a few chapters in the evening. I have not read Pride and Prejudice all the way through yet. I am a huge fan of the BBC TV series, I think it was a 3-episode, I want to say 3, with Jennifer Eels and Colin Firth. Loved it. And I'm really enjoying this. I'm listening to the audiobook with Rosamund Pike, and she's doing a really great job. Man, Mr. and Mrs. Bennet are just a laugh, and it's going really well so far. So I'm looking forward to finishing that one soon. And I've also started reading Ariadne, which was a book I shared with you in my book haul in my last video. This is a retelling of the Greek myth of the Minotaur, and Ariadne is a princess of the King Minos, so the Minotaur is her brother. And man, I've really only just gotten past the part where you hear the story of the Minotaur, how the Minotaur came to be, like her brother. And Poseidon, the god Poseidon, has the most ridiculous sense of humor. And anyway, it's something in Greek mythology where women seem to get punished for the acts of men, which is constant, like the story of Medusa. But I'm enjoying it so far. It doesn't have a real, it feels the tone is a little bit darker in the sense that I feel like Ariadne does not have a lot of hope, but I'm enjoying the writing so far. It's going okay. Another nonfiction book I have is Why Women Grow: Stories of Soil, Sisterhood and Survival by Alice Vincent. I started this, I think, in January, and I've been going through it slowly. This is a heavy book because it is talking about stories around why women garden, and a lot of it comes from trauma. A lot of it comes from baggage in their life or things that they're working through. So it's quite heavy in terms of the topic, but it is really, I'm enjoying it. The stories that I'm reading in here are really heartfelt. There's a lot of respect that the author's given to them, and she's just pretty much traveling around England talking to these ladies about why they garden and what they're getting out of it, why they started to garden. I'm really enjoying it. It's going okay, but it is slow going because of the subject matter can be quite heavy, so that's why it's taken me a while to get through it. I'm also reading Love Stories by Trent Dalton. I started reading this as part of a Valentine's Day project, I guess. I'm getting into it. I started crying at the second story. His writing is just lovely, and the premise behind this book is that he just set himself up on a typewriter in like a shopping centre kind of mall, and had a sign, just saying he wanted to hear their love stories. And it's some of the stories are just really, really beautiful. And I'm really only just a little way through it, just doing a chapter here and there, but it's going well. And then I've also started reading Cider with Rosie by Laurie Lee. This is a beautiful illustrated edition that my mum has lent me. This is something that her best friend gave to her on her birthday once. And I'm going through it. I did try and read the audiobook I did try and listen to the audiobook, but it is actually narrated by Laurie Lee, and his voice I found it very hard to get past just the way he spoke, the cadence, the dialect. I just found it really tough. So I'm reading it and I'm enjoying it. I think this is a good book for summer. So Cider with Rosie, it's quite transporting. So I'm enjoying that. So that's what I'm currently reading at the moment, which is going really well. So thank you for joining me for a bit of this and that, a bookish chat. And I mentioned Ariadne was in my recent video, the book haul, so I'll leave a link to that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you soon. So have a wonderful weekend. Bye.